Today, I'm flying around the world in just 7 days, entirely in first class. From Australia to America to Africa, on board 7 of the world's most luxurious aircraft, with in-flight lounges, private bedrooms, and Michelin-starred dining. Oh, and you're invited along for the ride. So let's pick up our story in Frankfurt, Germany. Welcome back to the channel, where we begin our epic adventure around the world. Without any more to say, let's head right into the private first class terminal. After a pretty cold welcome, I'm directed over to security, which is efficient, and within moments I'm through into the lounge. It's an expansive space. There's a restaurant, fully stocked bar, and plenty of comfy sofas. The priority, of course, is a freshly pulled cappuccino. It's gonna be a long day. Moments later, I'm escorted downstairs, where a car is waiting. Every Lufthansa first class passenger gets their own chauffeur-driven transfer across the tarmac. Introducing our aircraft, the iconic Boeing 747. Okay, let's go get on board. Our plane plays host to 364 passengers, with an intimate first class cabin of just 8 seats. We are, however, a full house today, so let's settle into my chosen spot, 1K. It's not long before the safety video is run, and we begin pushing back from stand. So where's our first stop? Well, it's an 11-hour, 5,800-mile hop all the way to Los Angeles. As we reach altitude, let's begin with a glass of Renard Rosé. Our seat then. It's fair to say this cabin is a few years past its prime, though the armchair style seat is incredibly comfortable, but very exposed. And the TV, well, it's small and low resolution. Still, the fresh rose is a charming touch. Anyway, it's time for lunch, and with it an Oktoberfest themed service. The tray table folds out neatly from the seat, and the crew promptly sets this up for me. Just like the golden age of travel, food is served via trolley, and we'll start with the caviar service. To continue the outstanding seat-side service, I'm handed a freshly baked pretzel, paired with a traditional Munich white sausage. Anyway, the main event, Bavarian duck with red cabbage and a potato dumpling. For dessert, there's a selection of local chocolates, and what's called the Emperor's Mess. As we continue gliding west, it feels like the right moment to try out the bed. For a bit more comfort, I'll change into the provided pyjamas and head to the bathroom at the back of the first class cabin. It's a compact, well-designed space, with the toilet discreetly tucked beneath this leather lid. There's a contemporary sink, another fresh rose, and plenty of high-end amenities, with even more waiting in the amenity kit. Should we get those cozy pyjamas on then? In my absence, the crew have turned down the seat into a 6'6" bed, complete with a duvet, mattress topper, and fluffy pillow. Well, that was needed, and we're now closing in on the first of 7 stops. So after a quick change, it's back to my seat. Belt secured, ready for landing. Welcome to the USA. So I've picked up my hire car and now it's time to head over to our hotel, one that I think personifies the glamour of old school Hollywood. Should we go and see what I've booked? Of course there's nothing more iconic than the Beverly Hills Hotel. Opened in 1912, it's long been the place to be seen. From the Polo Lounge, where Hollywood deals are still struck, to the lush tropical gardens that hide the famous bungalows. I've booked one for our stay, though things don't quite go to plan. As I settle into the bungalow, there's quite a commotion next door, and not the serene jet lag friendly vibe I was hoping for. But this is where things take a turn. The hotel apologises and immediately arranges a room change. Well, this is most unexpected. They've only gone and upgraded me to one of their very best suites, normally around $8,000 a night. As I enjoy the views out over Beverly Hills, let me introduce our new segment for this trip, Destination Dish, where I'll be trying something local in each country we visit. And for the US, it has to be a burger. Join me back at LAX. It's time for another long-haul flight. We're flying Japan Airlines next on their brand new aircraft, which only began operating this route a few weeks ago. It's time to head through TSA pre-check. For lounge access, I'm invited to the Qantas First Class facility, which feels like a bit of strategic foreshadowing. It's an impressive space with plenty of comfortable seating and even a full restaurant. The dishes are cooked to order in the open kitchen, and I've gone for the mozzarella salad and the salt and pepper squid. It's time to get on board, and thankfully the gate is only a 5-minute stroll away. Introducing our 1-year-old A350-1000. Boarding is already underway, but as a first class passenger, I can take my time. Down the jet bridge we go, first through JAL's wonderful new business class, and then into their super private first class cabin. I've selected 2A for this leg, a vast, beautifully designed space. It's not long before we begin to push back and over to the runway. So you've probably guessed we're heading to Japan, and not sure what gave it away. We'll be flying 5,500 miles, crossing the international date line to reach Tokyo in around 12 hours. As we settle at our cruising altitude of 38,000 feet, the seatbelt sign is extinguished. Before exploring the suite, I want to go get changed into the provided pyjamas, so let's head to the lavatory at the front of the cabin. It's smaller than Lufthansa's, and while there's no leather lid for the toilet, there's a bidet function and a selection of high-end cosmetics. The amenity kit is packed with goodies too. The pyjamas are mineral enriched to help with fatigue recovery. I suppose I'll be the judge of that. Now to take a proper look around first class. There are 6 suites in a 1-1-1 configuration. Each suite features a wide sofa that converts into a fully flat bed, built-in headrest speaker, a tablet to control every function, wireless charging, and a huge 43-inch screen. Storage is excellent too. My Timbs slot neatly in here, and there's even a compact wardrobe for my polo and shorts. Time for a look at the menu. There's a choice between international cuisine and a full Japanese tasting course. And yes, I'm going for the latter. The crew position my tray table and present the most expensive champagne I've ever been served. Salon 2013, produced only in perfect vintages and typically retailing well north of $1,000 a bottle. Our Japanese culinary adventure begins with a selection of small dishes, From mashed chestnut to, jellyfish. Surprisingly delicious, and no, it didn't sting me. Then comes a warm potato potage with sea urchin pate and caviar. I've slightly lost track of the courses at this point, but I believe we've reached the main. I've gone for the steak, served with steamed rice, pickles and miso soup. It's tender, flavourful and genuinely delicious. Anyway, as for now, I think I'm going to get the suite converted into a bed, not to sleep, but to watch some movies. The lovely crew promptly turned down my suite. Next, I pair my own Bluetooth headphones to the IFE. Surprisingly simple and absolutely the future. The film selection is solid, and within moments I'm settled in watching Ballerina, the new John Wick installment. Would you believe it, our flight is nearly over. Back in my polo and shorts, belt fastened, and we're descending into Tokyo's Haneda Airport. Welcome to Japan. Well, I'm very happy to welcome you to the Aman Hotel. This has been on my bucket list for many years, and with good reason. Perched 38 floors above the city, it blends traditional Japanese design with modern flair. First things first, a much needed caffeine hit. The jet lag is definitely making itself known. So what's the plan? Our next flight isn't until later today, so this morning I'm trying something rather special. Conveniently, the Aman sits right beside Tokyo Station, and within moments I'm through the barrier and up onto the platform. Introducing the Hayabusa bullet train, Japan's fastest, reaching over 200 miles an hour. I've booked Grand Class, an ultra luxurious first class cabin offered only on select services. Time to settle in as we glide out of Tokyo Station. As we build up speed, I'm served a beautifully presented Japanese bento, but for now my focus is firmly on the comfort and the astonishing pace as we surge past 200 miles an hour. Now for one last stop in Shibuya before we head to the airport. And of course we can't come to Japan without having sushi. You order on this tablet, and moments later your dish arrives via the conveyor belt. Simple, quick and absolutely delicious. But it's time to move on. Our third flight of the trip departs from Tokyo's larger Narita airport. Tonight we're flying Singapore Airlines as we continue on to our next continent. Check-in is efficient, and within moments I'm heading through fast-track security. Given today's adventures, I've cut this a little fine, and with no time for the lounge, it's straight to gate 35. Down the jet bridge we go. I'm warmly welcomed by the crew and shown to my seat 1A. First class here is just a single row with 4 suites in total. There are no overhead bins, so I'll stow my luggage within the seat itself and settle in ready for departure. Given our lack of champagne today, I think we'll change that with a delicious glass of Krug. It's not long before the jet bridge is retracted and we push back from stand. Our flight this evening takes us 3,500 miles southwest to Singapore, a journey of around 7 hours. The crew distributes stunning Lalique amenities in form of cosmetics and pyjamas. We for sure will be changing into these shortly. I do however fancy dinner. Here's tonight's menu. Which is impressive, though I've pre-ordered something pretty special for my main. In an aim to crown the best airline caviar, I'm seeing how SQ stacks up. Certainly the most traditional presentation so far. For my main, I've pre-ordered the lobster thermidor. Rich, creamy and beautifully indulgent. Time now to change into the pyjamas. Singapore's first class cabin has 2 bathrooms for just 4 passengers, which is an excellent ratio. While I've been away, the crew have transformed my suite into a bed. I'm trying not to sleep on this sector as I'm connecting onto a red-eye, so I'll put on a film. And I made it about 8 minutes. A few hours later, we're on our final descent into Singapore's Changi Airport. Welcome to our third country of Singapore. It's only an airside layover this time, but trust me, you'll want to see the flight that's coming up next. I've been invited upstairs to the Silvercrest Lounge complex to experience their most exclusive space. Only available to suites passengers, this space offers ample comfortable seating, a private bedroom, and a full-service restaurant. Even the walls are lined with champagne. I'm shown over to a table, and after a quick look through the menu, decide that a Singapore sling is the most fitting destination dish for this late hour. I pair this with an assorted chicken and beef satay. Now it's time to up the ante somewhat. The Singapore A380, featuring one of the world's best first class products. Before we step on board, here's something I've been using throughout this trip to keep things running smoothly behind the scenes. Being able to run my business on the move has been seamless thanks to Odoo, an all-in-one management software. From invoicing to project management, website creation and much more. I've built my own website using Odoo's intuitive website builder. Let me show you how easy it is. The website configurator guides you in just 4 steps. Firstly, to find the type of site, industry and your goals. Choose a colour palette, add pages and features, and finally select a theme. In no time you have the structure of your website ready. Now all that's left is to customize it. The website builder is intuitive and easy to use with no technical skills required. Use the drag and drop, whereby every block can be seamlessly added anywhere on your site. Everything is customizable, text, colours, images, and you can even use dynamic animations. Odoo allows you to create your website for free with a lifetime free app, including unlimited hosting and support. You also get a free custom domain name for 1 year. Thanks again Odoo for making this video possible. Now to step things up. The next chapter of this trip begins here. Priorities, Tims off and slippers on. Now to push back and out of rainy Singapore. But where to next? We'll fly for the next 4,000 miles, all the way to Sydney, Australia. As we reach our cruising altitude, I fancy something sweet. My armchair is able to rotate into the preset dining position. Within moments my tray table is out and being set up by the crew. I've selected the hot chocolate along with the mango cake, which coupled with a movie should hopefully get me ready for sleep. To prepare for bed, I'll first need to change, and that means heading to another first class bathroom, but we're in for a treat. Singapore happens to have one of the most epic bathroom setups of any airline. What do you think? Right, let's get back to my suite. And wow, complete with plush Lalique linens. catch you all in the morning. Given that this sector is around 6 hours, it's a short but sweet sleep, and before long we're approaching our next stop. Welcome to Australia. Of course it's super early and you're probably wondering what the plan is. Well, I'm actually not stopping in Sydney at the moment. I'm going to head down to Melbourne, and that's because my sister and her family live down there, and I've managed to get a flight on Virgin Australia. Long-time viewers may remember my sister. She joined me on the Disney Wish last year, and as our onward connection isn't until tomorrow morning, we're heading down to Melbourne for the day. I've booked into the W for this afternoon, mainly to drop my bags, grab a shower and get changed. Then it's time to go and meet my sister.
Welcome to Australia!
Oh my god, I can't believe I'm here, and it's been ages since I've seen you. This is where Ellie lives.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it?
We've arranged to catch up at the Queen Victoria Market for a few reasons. To secure a magic coffee, if you know, you know. To see my brother-in-law Luke. And of course, to hunt down our next destination dish, the Aussie meat pie. I now fully understand why this thing is basically national treasure status. To close out this quick visit, we're making our way down to the Yarra River, where we've hired an electric go-boat for a little family adventure. Back to Sydney we go. That visit meant a great deal. A reminder that beyond the luxury, it's the connections with family and friends that make travel so worthwhile. It's late now, but I've arrived at one of my favourite hotels, the Park Hyatt Sydney. The room itself is lovely, but that's not the headline here, it's the view.
Our time, unfortunately, in Australia has come to an end. We must continue onwards, in fact, to a new continent.
Well, we can't come all the way to Australia and not fly the national carrier in first class. Within a few minutes, I'm checked in and heading through security. We've just enough time to visit the first class lounge, genuinely one of my favourites anywhere. From the old school departures board, to the restaurant and bar. But the real highlight, the unbeatable tarmac views. Before I get too carried away, let's hotfoot it over to gate 8. A quick scan of the boarding pass, and we're face to face with our 16-year-old Airbus A380. First class sits on the lower deck, with space for 14 passengers, by far the largest cabin we've had so far. I'll get my bags into the overhead bin, settle into my suite, and fasten my seatbelt as we begin pushing back. So, where are we heading this morning? We'll be flying one of the world's most southerly routes, nearly 7,000 miles across to Johannesburg, South Africa. As we climb to cruising altitude, let's take a look around the cabin. I've chosen 4A, which I'm a big fan of. Spacious with a large armchair seat, a buddy seat for companion dining, and an IFE screen, though it's a touch on the small side. Let's fold out the small tray table and try the canapes. Though the 2006 Cuvée Louise is the real star. Silky fresh with a zesty citrus and a touch of mango and plum. Spot on. Let's take a look at the lunch menu. To prepare for service, I swivel the armchair into the dining position. And off come the Tims. Fresh bread arrives first, followed by the Australian tasting plate, which goes down an absolute treat. For the main, I've opted for the Aussie beef fillet, with a potato gratin and a crisp baby leaf salad. If you know Australia, you'll know their obsession with good coffee, so I'm delighted to see that's carried through to this incredible dessert.
Now I think we're going to go check out, there's actually an onboard lounge just upstairs, so let's go and try that out, and then I think it's PJs on, and you know the drill, we've got to see what that bed's like.
Ah yes, the Qantas party piece, the onboard lounge and bar on the upper deck. Also, I'll never get used to walking upstairs on an aircraft. So it's a great space, but does feel a little forgotten about, perhaps it's the lighting. Still a truly unique spot to hang out for a bit. Okay then, it's PJ o'clock. There are 2 first class lavatories split between 14 passengers, though I never once had to queue. You're also provided with a Qantas First branded amenity kit, and of course these fetching pyjamas. Returning to my suite, it's been made up, complete with crisp linens, plush mattress topper and 2 supportive pillows. Not wanting to sleep on this sector, I'm pushing through with my continued movie marathon. Meanwhile, we continue to glide over the Antarctica Ocean. Today is not the case, but on some flight paths you can actually see the white continent. Well, would you look at that, it's time to secure the cabin for landing. Welcome to Africa, and to a very special guest who's joining me at the Four Seasons.
Millie, welcome to Africa.
Yes, so happy to be in South Africa, my first time.
It
So
is.
really exciting.
How was your flight over?
Oh, it was okay, a bit rocky and I was a bit nervous. But yeah, I'm very tired now.
Well, that was a much needed rest in a bed not at 40,000 feet. There's just enough time this morning to enjoy some biltong as our destination dish. So this is just a brief layover, but our time in Africa is far from over. Back at the airport, we're checking in for our South African Airways flight. And after clearing security, we're straight onto our A320. Where are we heading? So we're flying 600 miles north to Victoria Falls. We're going on safari. Welcome to Zimbabwe. After a warm local welcome, we're collected by our transfer. On the way, we stop at one of the natural wonders of the world, of course the falls. Then it's a further 45 minutes to Matetsi. This will be Millie's first safari, and the bar has well and truly been set incredibly high. Just look at this room. But the real showstopper is the view from our pool deck.
But the main reason we're here is of course to go on safari. So I guess I need to get changed and then we'll go over to the vehicle and go and see which of the big 5 or indeed other animals we can spot.
Now for dinner. Morning. It's time for our next big travel day. First up is a short hop down to Johannesburg, where we're connecting onto another long-haul aircraft. It was only a matter of time before Emirates made an appearance. Their lounge here in Joburg is substantial, so I'll start with a quick coffee before making our way over to the waiting Boeing 777 on the tarmac. We're warmly welcomed by the crew and invited to settle into row 1 at our leisure. Millie is getting comfortable just across the aisle in 1E. In due course, the safety video plays, and we begin pushing back from stand and taxiing out to the runway. So where next? As we make our way back towards Europe, our first leg is an 8-hour hop to Dubai. Once we level off at 38,000 feet, it feels like the right moment to begin lunch. Like the other carriers on this trip, Emirates offered dine on demand, so we can eat what we like whenever we choose. To begin, I'm opting for a 2015 Dom Perignon, while Millie goes straight for an espresso martini. Sensing our excitement at finally travelling together, the crew offers to take a Polaroid, a brilliant little keepsake. Right, lunch service. To round off my around the world airline caviar comparison, we'd better see how Emirates performs. They're the only airline to offer it unlimited, quite the contrast to the Qantas spoonful. Millie meanwhile has gone for the roasted tomato soup. For the mains, Millie chooses the mixed grain risotto. I go for the pan-fried beef steak, which is excellent. And now for the IFE ritual. On Emirates you know this as ICE, and I'm going to watch the new Mission Impossible. Millie instead chooses to catch up on some shut-eye. And just like that, we're on our final approach into Dubai. Welcome to the United Arab Emirates. We have just one very special flight left tomorrow for our final leg home. But for now, our Emirates chauffeur will whisk us over to the Mandarin Oriental for our last layover.
The plan today, of course, is going to be getting our last flight, but before that, I'm actually going to be catching up with one of my good friends who's moved out here.
To get a proper taste of the local side of Dubai, I'm heading to the Arabian Tea House in the heart of Old Dubai. Introducing my friend Julian to the channel. Of course, an Arabic tea is in order to fuel a proper catch-up. And for my UAE destination dish, I've gone for proper local comfort food. Post brunch we take a wander through the old souk and finally get to our awaiting boat, a traditional wooden abra. Welcome back to DXB, and it's time for our final flight of the trip. Check-in is remarkably efficient at Emirates' new first class facility. Now to glide through the new biometric passport control and security. Just a few minutes later, we're stepping into the Emirates first class lounge. We're heading straight to the restaurant. Not for food as we've just had brunch, but simply for a perfectly chilled DC. The time has come to complete this circumnavigation of the globe. with this 11-year-old A380, recently refreshed with Emirates' new first class. Millie is seated just ahead of me for this final flight. As we thunder down the runway and lift off into the sky, what does this last leg entail? A 7-hour, 3,500 mile journey back to my home, London. Now that we've reached cruising altitude, I'm beginning proceedings with a shower. Do I need one? No. Am I going to shower at 39,000 feet? Absolutely yes. You get around 5 minutes of water, which is more than enough. Time to change into the provided pyjamas. Let's see how these compare to Japan Airlines. Emirates also offer a Bulgari amenity kit, which I think might just win versus the others. Would you agree? Back at my suite, it's time for a late lunch. I'm starting with a glass of Dom Perignon Rosé, and it's always worth asking what's not on the menu, as this was not listed. Soon my table is set for the lobster starter. Millie's opted for the grilled chicken, with green peppercorn sauce and roasted potato wedges. Meanwhile, craving a bit of variety, I've gone for the Chicken Club sandwich, which sadly is a miss. You know what time it is? It's time to follow Millie over to the onboard lounge. This is located to the rear of the aircraft, just past business class. It's a wonderful space, but does get pretty busy. Nevertheless, we find a spot on the couch. Despite not being on display, you can order any of the top shelf booze from first class. During our absence, the crew have turned down our seats into beds, which is just what I need, an afternoon nap. It's fair to say, despite this being a super luxurious adventure, it hasn't half been tiring. And just like that, with dusk upon us, we make our final approach into London Heathrow, marking the end of our circumnavigation of the world in first class. So how much did this all cost? Well, the grand total for my flights was $31,304. As always, let me know what you thought to the video down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all again next time.